hope Mr. Trump treats this situation with the seriousness it deserves and works to demonstrate to the country that he has greater respect for women than this clip suggests.
You hope he works to demonstrate respect for women? What are you talking about? It's too late in absolutely every way. First, it's October of an election year, and second, he's fucking 70. But Ryan was not the only outraged Republican. They lined up to disavow Trump's statements, each with a similar theme.
I have 5 daughters, and what Mr. Trump said is offensive to me and my family.
My wife and I, we have a 15-year-old daughter.
I have a wife. I have a daughter. I have a mother. And I have 5 sisters. Although these were not my sisters, this wasn't my daughter, my wife, or my mother to whom Donald Trump was speaking, or of whom he was speaking. This was somebody's sister. This was somebody's daughter. In some cases, it may have been somebody's mother or somebody's wife.
Look, as the son of a mother and the husband of a wife, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? You're going through such an elaborate 6 degrees of separation exercise to arrive at someone with a Y chromosome that you can feel sorry for. Now, as the weekend unfolded, numerous prominent Republicans actually began to formally withdraw their support for Trump. Most notably, the party's former nominee, John McCain, who put out a statement saying, "I will not vote for Donald Trump." A statement whose bravery was a little undercut by the fact it was his second attempt at a response, the first of which was much weaker.
Senator John McCain just releasing a statement saying there are no excuses for Donald Trump's offensive and demeaning comments. No woman should ever be victimized by this kind of inappropriate behavior. He alone bears the burden of his conduct and alone should suffer the consequences.
Except no, he alone does not bear the burden of his conduct because he alone did not make himself your party's nominee. All of you have consistently supported him through some absolutely heinous shit. In his very first campaign speech, he called Mexicans rapists. And that was just the beginning. Because since then, he has proposed a temporary ban on Muslim immigrants, advocated for killing terrorist families, which is, by the way, a war crime, argued for waterboarding even if it doesn't obtain information because, and I quote, "they deserve it anyway." And just this week, he stood by his claims that the Central Park Five were guilty, despite the fact that DNA evidence has since exonerated them. And all of you still thought he should be president. So the only way that you get to be shocked and outraged now is if you were cryogenically frozen until Friday afternoon, and that Access Hollywood tape was the first thing you saw upon being reanimated. Anything less than that, and this is on you too. And as for Trump himself, he still doesn't appear to realise how horrifying his remarks actually were, because during his apology, he was already trying to minimise the incident.
Let's be honest, we're living in the real world. This is nothing more than a distraction from the important issues we're facing today.
OK, now, first, I am genuinely disappointed to hear him say we are living in the real world. I had secretly hoped this whole election was a horrible dream. And not even my dream, the dream of a racist teenager who fell asleep while masturbating to internet porn. But second, this is not a distraction, nor is it even a surprise. If Jimmy Carter had been caught saying that stuff, sure, we would all be shocked. But with Trump, it's entirely in character. And while there is talk of Republicans trying to get him off the ticket, that's not going to happen. Early voting has begun, so people have already voted for him. This is happening. And in a way, perhaps we've always been heading to this historic moment. The first female presidential nominee versus the human embodiment of every backwards, condescending, Mad Men-esque boys' club attitude that has ever existed, rolled into one giant, salivating, dick-size referencing, pussy-grabbing warthog in a red power tie. And I'll put it this way. If American democracy is a computer game and Hillary is completing women's 100-year quests to get to the Oval Office, it kind of makes sense that this would be the final boss. And now,